Temple is among the latest to respond to the sign with outcry, saying at least one of their students was involved and is suspended.
Now, Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy is doing something about the vulgar slur displayed on a sign at his Philadelphia bar. Why?
Would be able to give a tour. I talked to the kids. I talked to everybody involved in this, like instantly. I was getting phone numbers, names.
Dave Portnoy just went absolutely ballistic after discovering an anti-Semitic sign at his Philadelphia bar. The Barstool founder didn't just fire the staff involved, he's literally sending them to Auschwitz as a teaching moment. Is this the most extreme response to workplace anti-Semitism ever? Portnoy called one waitress the dumbest human I've ever talked to before announcing his controversial education plan. You're about to see the full video of his nuclear-level reaction that has everyone talking. The moment Dave Portnoy saw that sign in his Philadelphia bar, he completely lost it. He wasn't just mad, he was literally shaking with anger in the video. You can see his face getting red as he talks about discovering someone put up a sign that said "Fuck the Jews" in his establishment. This wasn't a small reaction. This was Dave Portnoy at his most furious. Most business owners would be upset about something like this happening in their place. But Portnoy, he went into full scorched earth mode. The first thing he did was immediately fire two waitresses who were involved. He didn't even try to be nice about it.
A night out at a Center City sports bar turns into a national controversy, with Philadelphia police and Temple University now investigating.
My initial reaction was like, I'm gonna burn these people to the ground, their families, everything.
In the video, he straight up calls one of them the dumbest human I've ever talked to. That's how you know he wasn't playing around. The situation gets even more intense when you hear the details. Apparently, one waitress acted completely alone with the sign, while the other one got pressured into being part of it. But Portnoy didn't care about excuses. Zero tolerance. Both of them gone, just like that.
And it's like, you know what? Maybe that's not the best course of action. Maybe I can use this as a teaching moment.
So an upsetting show of anti-Semitism.
After a customer ordered a disturbing anti-Semitic sign to be put on display at Barstool on Sanson Street.
But here's where things get really interesting. Most people would stop at firing the employees responsible, maybe make a public apology, move on, and hope everyone forgets about it. Not Portnoy. He took this to a whole different level that nobody saw coming. He actually contacted the Anti-Defamation League about the incident. Portnoy makes it clear in the video why this hit him so hard. He talks about how anti-Semitism has been growing all over the place lately, especially in universities. You can hear the frustration in his voice when he explains how this kind of hate has been popping up more and more. That's what made this incident at his bar feel even more serious to him. Then comes the most shocking part of his response. Instead of just punishing these former employees and moving on, Portnoy reveals his unexpected solution. He's actually sending the people responsible to Auschwitz concentration camp. Yes, you heard that right. He's sending them to an actual Holocaust concentration camp as what he calls a teaching moment.
Temple is among the latest to respond to the sign with outcry, saying at least one of their students was involved and is suspended.
Now, Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy is doing something about the vulgar slur displayed on a sign at his Philadelphia bar. Why?
Would be able to give a tour. I talked to the kids. I talked to everybody involved in this, like instantly. I was getting phone numbers, names.
Maybe I can use this as a teaching moment, Portnoy says in the video. Think about that for a second. This isn't just about firing someone and forgetting they exist. This is about making them face history in the most direct way possible. This creates a completely different kind of accountability that most people never think about.
They're gonna do a tour of the concentration camps in Germany. We kind of brainstormed and we came up with the concept of sending them to Poland, to the concentration camps. They put me in touch with people. Philadelphia is definitely a big Barstool city. We've done a lot there, so just everybody saw it. It made the rounds on social media, and my blood was boiling.
The video gets even more surprising when Portnoy explains that he's personally paying for their trip to Auschwitz. I'm going to pay for it, he says. We're going to send him to Germany, to Auschwitz, and learn a little bit about history, and hopefully get educated and use this as a teaching moment, not just for them, but maybe for everybody. His anger turned into something that might actually create real understanding about the Holocaust.
Yeah, I mean, the first knee-jerk reaction was like just to punish them and kind of ruin their lives. It's like, you know, what is that going to do? There's just so much hate right now in the world, especially anti-Semitism. whoever was involved in this as much as possible and make them regret it, and consequences for their actions, and the people at the bar.
What started as pure rage transformed into potentially something much more powerful. Portnoy could have just stayed angry, kept trashing these former employees online, and moved on. Instead, he's trying to use this horrible incident to make these people actually understand why what they did was so terrible. The video shows this complete transformation from start to finish. It begins with Portnoy absolutely fuming, ready to destroy everyone involved. Then it shifts to this unexpected educational approach that nobody saw coming. This is what makes his response so different from what most business owners would do.
To try to, basically understand what happened. How could this happen? Why did they do this? Spoke with the Crafts, and I know that they have a big anti-Semitism organization and try to stop hate. The thought was maybe if they could learn more about the history and why this is so offensive and visit.
This whole situation raises a huge question that everyone's asking. Is Portnoy's extreme response justified? Or is this just another publicity stunt from a guy known for controversy? Some people are praising him for turning punishment into education. Others think sending employees to a concentration camp is way over the top, even with good intentions. The incident itself was pretty straightforward. Someone put up an anti-Semitic sign that said "fuck the Jews" at his bar. The message was direct, hateful, and definitely needed a response. But was this the right one? That's what everyone's debating now.
Poland and the concentration camps in Auschwitz, you could make a teaching moment out of it. So that's what we landed on. Over the last year and a half, obviously, stuff in the Middle East, the increase in anti-Semitism is through the roof. The amount of stuff I get sent to me, if you're unhappy with your life or you're miserable and you're looking for a scapegoat, suddenly it's all the Jews' problem. There seems like there's a lot of that.
What makes this whole situation even more complicated is Portnoy's own history of controversial statements and actions. Some people wonder if this is just his way of getting more attention. Others think he's genuinely trying to do something meaningful in response to hate. Either way, one thing's for sure, nobody expected the Barstool founder to respond by sending people to Auschwitz. This isn't your typical HR response to workplace misconduct. This is Portnoy taking things to a level that's going to have people talking for a long time. Whether it actually works as a teaching moment or just creates more controversy remains to be seen. What I find most fascinating about Portnoy's response is how he flipped from wanting to burn these people to the ground to creating this educational moment. Most companies just fire people and move on when something like this happens. Portnoy is actually making them face history directly. The big question now is whether sending these employees to Auschwitz will actually change anything. Is this a genuine attempt at education or just another headline-grabbing move from Barstool's founder? We won't know the real impact until these people actually make their trip to the concentration camp. That's when we'll see if Portnoy's unusual approach actually works.